The 7 levels of Batman armor explained. Level 1. Street suits. The Bat suit. The story of Batman's armor doesn't begin with god-tier tech or universe-cracking machines. It starts with something far smaller but far more dangerous: Gotham itself. The classic Batsuit was never designed to survive a war against cosmic beings. It was built for alleys, rooftops, and a city that throws knives, bullets, and broken glass at you long before it throws supervillains. Every version of the baseline suit reflects the same stubborn idea Bruce has carried since Night 1: stay alive long enough to make the next patrol. The fabric shifted from simple protective plating in the early days to layered Kevlar, Nomex, impact gel, and memory cloth cape tech, but the core purpose stayed sharp. The suit needed to move fast, hit hard, and intimidate anyone foolish enough to think a mask meant weakness. Different eras added different scars to the blueprint. Some runs leaned into lighter materials for speed, others stacked ballistic panels across the chest because Gotham's criminals had upgraded to fully automatic weapons. Even the cowl kept evolving. First just a disguise, later packed with night vision, comms, rebreathers, and shock dispersion systems after too many close calls in cramped hallways. None of this makes the Batsuit simple. It's the purest form of Batman's design philosophy. Solve the problem right in front of you, then fix everything else tomorrow. And Gotham gave him plenty to fix. There were nights where the suit looked nearly shredded off him, nights when gliding between skyscrapers was the only way out, nights when the armor's impact gel absorbed so many hits that it stiffened across his torso like a cracked shield. But those moments shaped what every higher-level suit eventually evolved from. Before the tanks, gods, and multiverse armor, this was the standard: Night Gallery suits. Batman's design obsession didn't stop at the main suit, Batman. Night Gallery revealed something fans always suspected. Bruce doesn't sketch 1 or 2 prototypes, he sketches hundreds. The Night Gallery suits were concept designs exploring how far the street-level Batsuit could bend without breaking the mission. Some were sleeker, shaped for pure stealth. Some were heavier, built to absorb punishment in close-quarters fights. Others were strange hybrids, mixing medieval silhouettes with modern plating as Bruce tested ways to change his presence on the street. These suits rarely left the page, but they showed the mental side of Batman's preparation. Before he ever built the Thrasher suit, before the Justice Buster, before the armor that let him stand against gods, he was refining the foundation. Night Gallery proves Bruce treats the Batsuit like a living equation. One wrong angle at the temple, one exposed joint at the elbow, one misjudged cape length during a rooftop chase, and the entire system collapses. Some designs looked almost theatrical, stretching the Bat imagery into exaggerated shapes Bruce ultimately abandoned. Others previewed ideas that would appear years later: reinforced shoulders, segmented chest plates, new cowl aerodynamics. Night Gallery is about obsession. The sketches show that even at the most grounded level, Batman prepares like someone expecting the entire city to attack him at any moment. Level 2. Tactical suits. Stealth suit. This one marks the point where Batman stops worrying about alleys and starts preparing for enemies who can see through buildings, track heat signatures, or locate a heartbeat from across a city block. Normal armor couldn't hide him from metahuman senses, so Bruce built something that turns him into a ghost. The suit bends light with advanced refractive panels, dampens sound through layered acoustic baffling, and muffles heat output by redirecting energy across its plating. In stories like Superman Unchained, versions of the suit were designed so well that even Superman's enhanced senses struggled to locate him. It's the opposite of the imposing silhouette he's known for. This version of Batman vanishes into environments, appears where no one expects him, and moves through war zones without leaving a single footprint behind. The armor's surfaces are covered in matte, light-swallowing material that kills reflections, turning Batman into a shadow even with ambient light around. Magnetic grip boots let him cling to metal surfaces silently, and the cowl's filtration eliminates both breathing noise and infrared signatures. This suit comes out during missions where Bruce doesn't need intimidation. He needs invisibility. Facing surveillance grids, alien drones, or metahuman guards who detect movement at impossible speeds, this suit creates openings that no ordinary gear could. It isn't flashy, and that's the point. It turns Batman into the kind of threat that enemies never see coming until he's already dismantled the room. The Dark Knight Returns armor. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns introduced one of Batman's most iconic upgrades, a hardened power armor frame built for the kind of confrontation no one walks away from lightly. Bruce had grown older, slower, and more deliberate after years away from crime fighting. But when the moment came to confront Superman, he prepared the only way he knew, through engineering, grit, and a suit designed to squeeze every last ounce of performance out of a worn body. The armor wrapped Bruce in reinforced plating, hydraulic strength boosters, and electrically powered shock channels that amplified his punches. The joints were thick, the servos were heavy, and the chest piece could absorb hits that would shatter concrete. Kryptonite gas gave him a fleeting window of advantage in the fight, but the armor is what let him withstand blows from Superman long enough to land his own. This wasn't designed for long campaigns or versatile missions. It was engineered for one night, one enemy, and one impossible task. The suit suit also reflected Bruce's planning mindset. He wasn't trying to match Superman, he was trying to make every second count. The armor delivered force, stability, and enough durability to keep him conscious through strikes that would level vehicles. In the story, the suit doesn't turn Batman into an equal. It turns him into a fighter who refuses to be erased, someone determined to stand his ground even when the scales are stacked against him. Level 3. Mission Suits. Batman's Justice Armor. When the Justice League faces a world-ending crisis, Batman usually walks in wearing his standard suit, relying on skill and planning more than raw protection. But Justice by Alex Ross and Jim Krueger put him into a different kind of battlefield, one where Brainiac's mind control wave targeted the entire planet. For that scenario, Bruce brought out the Justice Armor, a heavily reinforced suit built to operate beside gods, aliens, and metahumans without turning him into a liability. The design looked almost ceremonial, polished black plating, aerodynamic contours, and a structure that fit closer than his bulkier exosuits. But underneath the visual flair was serious engineering. The armor included advanced mind shielding systems, multi-layered sensory dampeners, and a compact propulsion rig that allowed controlled aerial movement. In the story, this suit gave Batman the stability and resistance he needed to move through a battlefield wired with psychic interference. It didn't change him into a powerhouse. It kept him functioning in a crisis built to overwhelm unprotected minds. The Justice Armor also marked one of the rare times Bruce leaned into a design that looked as imposing as the threat ahead. The sleek black finish echoed the 1960s Batmobile's curves, creating a silhouette that felt more like a jet black tank than a suit of armor. It was meant to inspire confidence among allies and dread among enemies, a visual sign that Batman wasn't arriving to play support. He was arriving prepared for whatever the League was facing that day. The Hellbat suit. This one was built for a completely different type of mission, environments that kill almost anything within seconds. Batman encountered situations involving extreme radiation, industrial toxins, and biohazard-level threats where exposure meant immediate collapse. This armor sealed him from head to toe, turning Batman into a roaming containment unit. Thick plating insulated heat and radiation, while the helmet carried a full-spectrum sensor suite that read chemical signatures, heat waves, and environmental shifts in real time. Batman wore the Hellbat suit during his confrontation with Terminus, a villain whose body emitted dangerous energy and radiation as he moved. Normal gear wouldn't survive direct proximity, so Bruce activated the suit specifically to get close enough to intercept Terminus without being incapacitated. The armor was slow, heavy, and uncomfortable compared to his standard gear, but it gave him a window to neutralize a threat that no one else could get near. Anti-Predator armor. It came from Batman's encounters with creatures that weren't shaped by Gotham's logic. The tech was designed to face off against non-human hunters, beings that track by heat, smell, sound, and instinct in ways criminals never could. This armor used thermal masking, reinforced blades, adaptive camouflage, and a flexible exoskeleton tuned for sudden, explosive movements. It appeared in multiple Batman vs. Predator crossovers, where Bruce found himself up against alien warriors built for pure combat. The Predator's hunting tools forced Batman to rethink everything from stealth to weapon construction. This suit represents the moment where Batman acknowledges that some missions don't involve fear tactics or detective work. Sometimes he faces creatures that see him as prey, and in those moments, he brings armor made for survival against enemies who live for the hunt. Level 4. Anti-Meta Suits. Man-Bat Suit. This one came from one of Bruce's most uncomfortable lessons. Some enemies don't fight like criminals or soldiers, they fight like animals. His clashes with Kirk Langstrom showed him what true feral strength looks like, and Bruce responded with armor that mirrors the physical traits of the creature he kept facing. The Man-Bat suit extended his reach with reinforced wing-like structures, sharpened forearm blades, and flexible plating that let him glide at high speed while staying protected in tight aerial combat. The cowl was redesigned to enhance echolocation sensors, letting him track movement in dark, shifting environments where sight alone wasn't reliable. The suit wasn't meant to replicate Langstrom's mutation. It was built to counter it. In stories like Batman Confidential, Bruce used versions of this armor to keep up with creatures that didn't tire, didn't hesitate, and didn't care about tactics. The wings allowed quick bursts of speed and silent dives, letting him control the battlefield from above. The sharper profile turned him into a larger, more threatening figure, a silhouette built to match the nightmares he fought. Justice Buster armor. In Batman number 35, 2014, Bruce faced the possibility of the Justice League being compromised, and he prepared the same way he always does, by designing armor that could break down his own teammates if everything went wrong. The Justice Buster doesn't mimic their powers, it isolates their weaknesses. Each part of the suit was engineered with a specific League member in mind. It carried magnesium-based foam to immobilize Flash by triggering friction burn, a telepathic bind system to counter Wonder Woman's lasso effects, sonic disruptors calibrated for Aquaman's senses, and a red sun energy module to weaken Superman long enough to create openings. The armor's frame increased Bruce's strength and stability, allowing him to absorb hits that would flatten buildings. He didn't walk into that encounter expecting victory. He walked in expecting to survive long enough to drag his friends out of mind control. The issue made the suit legendary. For a few critical minutes, the Justice Buster held off the most powerful heroes on Earth, proving that Bruce's planning is the safety net that keeps the world from collapsing when the unexpected happens. Augmentation suit. It came from Bruce's battles with enhanced foes like Terminus, where a regular exosuit wasn't enough to keep pace. This armor deployed directly from the Batmobile, clamping onto Bruce in seconds and turning him into a reinforced combat unit. It boosted his strength, protected him from superhuman blows, and extended his durability far beyond anything the baseline Batsuit could manage. Unlike bulkier power armor, the augmentation suit stayed relatively compact. It let Bruce fight with precision, use martial arts techniques without losing mobility, and adapt to foes wearing heavy, destructive exoskeletons. The enhanced servos improved reaction time, and the reinforced gauntlets amplified every strike. Where the Man-Bat suit handled feral opponents and the Justice Buster neutralized the League, the augmentation suit focused on one problem: keeping Batman competitive against enemies who outmatched human limits. It was built for nights when the line between man and metahuman felt thinner than ever. The armor Batman activates when the threat grows, but the mission still depends on a fighter who refuses to step back. Level 5. Power Armor Suits. Thrasher Batsuit. It came out of one of Gotham's ugliest nights, when Bruce had to face the Court of Owl's Talons, a group of undead assassins designed to fight through gunfire, break steel restraints, and keep going long after a normal opponent would collapse. In Batman number 8, 2012, Bruce activated the Thrasher armor because there was no other way to hold back an entire wave of Talons inside the Batcave. The suit was built like a walking fortress. The plating was heavy, layered, and temperature-controlled to counter the Talons' regenerative abilities, which weaken under extreme cold. Massive hydraulic servos increased Bruce's raw strength to the point where he could rip through reinforced barriers and throw enemies off their feet with single hits. Internal oxygen systems kept him breathing while the cave flooded with smoke, dust, and freezing coolant. The Talons swarmed from every direction, but the Thrasher armor let Bruce push back through overwhelming numbers. It was one of the few moments where Batman fought like a one-man army, trading speed for endurance and turning the cave into a battleground built around survival instead of stealth. The Insider Suit. The Insider suit came from a much quieter but more difficult moment, when Bruce returned from the events of Final Crisis and wanted to observe his allies without announcing he was back. The suit disguised him completely and gave him access to fragments of the Justice League's abilities through complex modular systems. It carried a speed mode capable of short bursts rivaling Flash-level movement. A stealth field provided invisibility similar to Martian Manhunter's camouflage. A strength amplifier mimicked elements of Superman's power for short periods. And the energy output system let Bruce fire precision blasts modeled after Green Lantern's constructs. The suit wasn't meant for a war. It was an investigative tool that let him watch the League, test their stability, and ensure they were safe after months without him. Still, the technology inside it showed how far Bruce was willing to go when he needed versatility beyond Gotham's streets. The Insider armor was small, sleek, and adaptable, a sharp contrast to the bulk of other power suits, but it carried the kind of equipment that could shift an entire confrontation in seconds when used correctly. The Batcavatron. This one took Bruce's engineering to an environmental level. Deep inside the Batcave, the suit acted as a powered excavation and reinforcement system, designed to stabilize caverns, move debris, and handle threats that attacked the cave's foundations. Its strength output ranked among the highest of Batman's power suits. The claws and reinforced arms allowed Bruce to lift collapsed stone, tear through hardened structures, and withstand falling debris during cave tremors. It also served as a countermeasure against enemies trying to invade the cave with heavier machinery. Unlike the Thrasher, which was built for combat, or the Insider, which was designed for infiltration, the Batcavatron existed to keep Bruce's base operational under extreme conditions. It gave him raw, industrial-level strength while still maintaining enough mobility to move through tunnels and chambers without destroying everything in the process. Level 6. God Killer Suits. Power Ring Suit. It came from a moment where Bruce used something he normally avoided at all costs, a lantern ring. In Justice League, the Darkseid War, Bruce gained access to the Mobius chair, but before that, during earlier encounters with the emotional spectrum, he temporarily wielded a yellow lantern ring in Justice League number 23.3. The ring chose him because of the fear he created across Gotham's underworld. The suit that formed around him wasn't a standard construct. It wrapped itself into a hardened exoshell, fueled entirely by Bruce's psychological presence. The armor amplified his intimidation to a supernatural level and gave him force fields, flight, and projectile attacks based on fear energy projection. Criminals could barely stand in front of him. Even seasoned League members immediately recognized how dangerous Bruce became once the ring interpreted his mind as a weapon. The suit also magnified emotions Bruce normally buried. The ring fed directly on his trauma and determination, shaping every construct from the depth of his psyche. The moment was brief, but it marked a rare instance where Batman used cosmic power without losing tactical control, a highlight in showing how adaptable his mind was, even when the stakes reached far beyond Gotham. Merciless Batman. From the dark multiverse came a version of Bruce who fell into complete destruction after losing Wonder Woman in battle. In Dark Knight's Metal, the Merciless #1, Bruce defeated Ares and claimed the God of War's helmet for himself. Once he put it on, the armor fused with him permanently, rewriting his physiology and giving him the full destructive force of the War God's essence. The Merciless armor amplified aggression, strength, and combat instinct to extreme levels. He moved with the reflexes of a mythic warrior and delivered blows strong enough to break enchanted weapons. His durability rivaled divine entities, allowing him to withstand explosions, magical blasts, and battlefield devastation without slowing down. The tragedy behind this suit came from how deeply Bruce believed the helmet would help him protect others. Instead, the endless hunger for conflict reshaped his judgment. Every decision turned into a calculation centered around overwhelming force. The merciless Batman became one of the most dangerous beings in the dark multiverse, a living reminder of what happens when Batman gains godlike power without the emotional restraints that define him. God of Knowledge Batman. During the Darkseid War, Bruce sat on the Mobius chair and gained access to near-omniscient knowledge across the universe. The chair reshaped the Batsuit into a sleek, glowing armor that reflected his new role. The suit operated as both protection and an interface for the chair's power. With it, Bruce gained instant awareness of criminal activity, cosmic disturbances, and the hidden identities of anyone he focused on. The armor worked in tandem with the chair's systems, keeping him alive as he traveled across cities and cosmic zones to maintain order. He solved crimes before they began, tracked villains across timelines, and took a more direct approach to controlling Gotham than he ever had. The suit glowed with circuitry patterns, signaling the constant data stream feeding into his mind. It offered mobility, communication across dimensions, and defensive shielding against high-level attacks. The danger came from how the chair slowly detached Bruce from his humanity, pushing him toward a colder, more calculated interpretation of justice. Red Death. It belonged to another dark multiverse version of Bruce, the one who absorbed the Flash. In Batman, the Red Death #1, he hijacked the Speed Force and fused with Barry Allen during a catastrophic experiment. The resulting armor was an organic metal fusion wrapped in the Flash's lightning energy. The suit allowed him to phase through matter, generate vortexes, and attack at velocities beyond human perception. Crimson lightning followed every movement. The armor also carried Barry's trapped consciousness inside it, creating constant internal conflict as the two fought for control. Red Death moved across his world, erasing criminals at blinding speed, driven by a mission to end crime permanently. His armor, streaked with jagged insignia and chaotic energy patterns, became one of the most feared suits across the dark worlds. Level 7. Goat Suits. The Final Batsuit. The Final Batsuit came from one of the most advanced timelines in Batman's mythology, Justice League #25, 2019, where Bruce operated during the Apex Predator era and fought on a cosmic scale. The suit was a planetary defense system designed to interact with the Totality, the oldest and most powerful energy source in DC's multiverse. This suit allowed Bruce to manipulate gravitational fields, create force constructs, and channel energy on levels usually reserved for cosmic entities. Its design stretched across layers of armor plating built to withstand gods, cosmic radiation, and reality-breaking attacks. The helmet connected him to universal data streams, giving him strategic awareness far beyond anything he ever had in Gotham. The Final Batsuit represented a point where Bruce was less of a vigilante and more of a universal guardian, operating in a world where conflict existed on cosmic fronts. It was one of the last technological peaks of Bruce Wayne, the closest he came to being a planetary sentinel, the Hellbat armor. Introduced in Batman and Robin Vol. 2 and 33, it was forged by the Justice League specifically so Bruce could handle threats beyond human capability. Superman hammered the chest plate in the heart of a sun. The Flash shaped the microcircuitry at impossible speeds. Wonder Woman sharpened the armor's edges on Themyscira. Every major leaguer contributed to it. The suit converted Bruce's metabolic energy into raw power, letting him survive hostile dimensions, overpower demons, and operate in terrain that would destroy most heroes. With it, he entered Apocalypse alone to rescue Damian Wayne, fought hordes of parademons, and held his own against enemies empowered by new gods. The downside was embedded in its design. The more power Bruce demanded from it, the faster it drained his life. The Hellbat was built to give him victory at the cost of his own body. That sacrifice-driven core is the reason fans and writers rank it among Batman's greatest armors. Batman 1,000,000. It came from DC 1 Million, a story set in the 853rd century where Bruce Wayne's legacy became a dynasty of successors. The Batman of this era wasn't wearing armor in the traditional sense. The suit itself functioned as a self-aware system with near-limitless adaptability. The armor carried the knowledge base of every Batman who came before, from detective skills to combat analysis to crisis-level tactics. It could generate holographic disguises, phase through attacks, and clone itself as decoys. The suit manipulated gravity, used nanotechnology for instant repairs, and even adapted to alien psychology in real time. What set Batman 1 Million apart was how seamlessly his suit worked with his environment. Gotham of the future existed partly in orbit, partly on shifting energy structures. The armor let him glide between these areas without losing stability. It was the definitive example of a Batman suit shaped for a civilization thousands of years ahead of Bruce's own era. Murder Machine Batman. The Murder Machine emerged from Dark Knight's Metal, a Bruce Wayne who merged with the Alfred Protocol, an advanced AI created to comfort him after Alfred's death. The system became corrupted and absorbed Bruce, turning him into a techno-organic hybrid. The armor fused with the AI, transforming Bruce into a self-replicating combat entity. He could create metallic tendrils, generate drones, infect computer systems, and rebuild his body instantly after damage. Every function of the Alfred Protocol existed inside him: guidance, strategy, support, and ruthless protection. His world fell quickly once the Murder Machine awakened. The suit reshaped him into something fully mechanical, operating with perfect efficiency and no hesitation. It was Batman stripped of limits, compassion, and physical boundaries, functioning as a relentless guardian with a singular mission that no longer had an off switch. And that's it. Now to you, if you could take one of these armors into a fight for your life, which one are you trusting? Comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.